Hello, my name is Matt. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I just got done filming a little over an hour worth of stuff on camera here in the park here in Southern California. And I had one of the windows cracked, and the mic was just blown all out by wind going by, enragingly so. I'm using the onboard camera and mic on my iPhone right now. So the quality's not so great. Visually, it's all right. Sound not so good. So I'm going to try to do this as a lightning round. Basically, it's welcome to my channel. This is a redo. The other video may never see the light of day because I don't know if I can salvage the audio in that. Being totally frank with you, I don't know if I can salvage the audio. So much of the stuff is just ridiculous. So I went and got myself the Proust Questionnaire. It's a way of getting to know me, all of you watching. To cram a lot in, but I'll try to do this as fast as I can. So myself, my name is Matt, live in Southern California. I'm unmarried, childless, as far as I know. But you may have come here because you have seen me on social media. We've connected somehow, or you know me in real life, IRL, from my Facebook or my Instagram, something like that. So at any rate, however you found me, you are welcome here. You are welcome. All are welcome. All are welcome except for intolerance. Intolerant people. My channel is a place for discussion, exchange of ideas, all sorts of things. We can talk about love and life and death and politics and all kinds of stuff as long as we are mutually respectful. The things that are not allowed on my channel are bigotry, misogyny, misandry, ageism, sexism, ableism, homophobia, transphobia. Those things are not welcome here on my channel. Discussion of those things as ideas may be a topic for some future point, but right now it's not welcome. I do not welcome that on my channel. Not gagging anyone. You've got your right to speak all you wish. Just if you're going to talk about how you come from superior blood or genetic line or some nonsense like that, you are not welcome on my channel. Not having that conversation. We're adults. We know that stuff is ridiculous. No one's better than anyone else. So, Proust Questionnaire. I already did this over the course of an hour. I'm going to do it fast now, because at least I know my answers. So here we go. What is your idea of perfect happiness? I can't remember what I said in the last one. What did I say? Idea of perfect happiness. Oh, by the way, I got this from, the idea for this from MacDonell. He's a YouTuber / booktuber. Really enjoy his channel a lot. So if you're watching, Rick, hi, hello. Your name and your nationality are very similar to my father. You have very similar first and last names, and you're from Newfoundland. He's from Ontario, but he's American now. He got his citizenship many years ago. So, but just funny little overlap. I didn't find your channel because of his name. I found you because of booktubers. But you did the Proust Questionnaire in one of your Q&As, and I thought it was a good, quick getting to know you kind of thing. The only problem is these are a lot deeper than I remember when he did them. So I'm going to try not to waffle too much, or spend too much time just screwing around, and hopefully the audio is better in this take than it was in the last one, because like I said, the last one might be unusable, and this would be your introduction to my YouTube channel. So again, welcome everybody. Glad you could make it. And let's see, idea of perfect happiness. Let's quit first one. Idea of perfect happiness. Do you remember what I said? No sponsorships. Yep. I'm trying to think what I said. Idea of perfect happiness. Probably something to do with you know what? Here, being able to create without limitations. Just endlessly create with nothing holding me back at all. That is perfect happiness. Which historical figure do you most identify with? I said this before. Leonardo da Vinci, not because I think I'm some crazy, super genius who could invent something like the machine gun or the helicopter like he did before they were real. But because he was a polymath, he was into a lot of different subjects, and he took them very seriously. I'm that way. I was in music production for years. I've been a writer for over 30 years, different kinds of writing. I worked in music for a time, film and television. I've worked in engineering. I've worked in biotech and medicine. Yeah, I've been in all kinds of stuff. So polymath. So I identify with him in that he was never happy in just one thing. He was always doing different things. And I definitely identify with that. Which living person do I most admire? I talked about this. I gotta stop saying that. You're not gonna see the other video. What's the living person I most admire? This is a hard one, but I said Robert Downey Jr. because and again, it's the Marvel movies are fine. I like Iron Man, Tony Stark's fine, but he's a huge comeback kid, you know, an addict. Myself, I'm an addict in recovery. He turned his addicted life completely around, and now he's. I mean, you know, people like him. He's a superstar, which is great. But for me, it's inspiring. He's inspiring because he doesn't. He turned his life around. I mean, the studios had given up on him. He was a huge risk for film and television projects. No one wanted to work with him for years. People have forgotten this. That's probably for the best now, but I remember this. No one wanted to work with him. He was considered a huge, you know, possible hole in the boat, you know, leaky boat. Um, so he leveraged his own contract money when he worked on films, when he's making his comeback. Basically, if he showed up intoxicated or he showed up hungover, things like that, the studios and the production companies would take the pay for the cast and crew out of his checks. Like he would basically, he'd have to personally pay for any time lost on a project. That's amazing. So he put himself on the hook for millions and millions of dollars just so that he could try and prove himself again to the studios, that he could be trusted and counted on to do his best as an actor and carry a project through production and promotion. And it's paid off in spades, both in terms of money and respect. And I admire the hell out of that. That's amazing. That's huge. He put his neck on the block and said, it's my head, not yours. Chop away. And the blade fell and it bounced because his integrity stopped it from taking him out. What is the trait you most deplore in yourself? Oh, my lack of brevity. My last video was an hour. Let's make this one brief. What is the trait you most deplore in others? What did I say? Let me think. I can just do these off the cuff, right? They'll be probably very similar. Most deplore in others trait. I really dislike like holier than thou ness, like people who think like I'm better than this guy. Like pompous, which I myself can be pompous and egotistical at times, but I try to be realistic enough to say that guy screwed up and that sucks, but like but for the grace of God go I could be that idiot if it was a different day of the week or I was back in my addiction, let's say. I could be just as much of a bonehead or a fool, a dangerous fool even, as this guy or that lady or that kid, you know. But yeah, so people who think that they're better than others, holier than thou, I deplore that. What is my greatest extravagance? Yeah, coffee table art and photography books. I love books, period. Owning them, giving them away, but especially owning them, reading and rereading them, sharing them with others, talking about them. But my greatest extravagance is big, fat coffee table books that are the size of a car door. I love those. And I have a small collection that I look forward to growing perpetually for the rest of my life. Can never have enough of those. And I talked about in the last video, the last take, that one of my favorite books I actually gave away as a gift to my ex-girlfriend, who I meant it at the time, and I'm glad I gave it to her, but I do miss that book more than I miss her. Sorry to say that, but I do. I miss the book more than I miss the girl. She was a hell of a girl, but that's a really, really beautiful book. What do you consider the most overrated virtue? I talked about this. Yeah, I mean, all these. It'll get complicated. I don't want to overdo it, but basically it's fidelity. Let me explain. If you love someone so much that you're willing to spend your entire life with them forever, I think that's awesome. But I also think that a lot of people think they're that person, and they're not. They're not meant for the long haul, yoked in harness with one other person. They're just not. They're lying to themselves. They're kidding themselves. They do it to make their parents happy, or do it because they think society wants them to. And I think in the year 2020, that's just silly. We don't have dowries. You don't give the farmer's daughter, the farmer's daughter that you're marrying, you don't give the farmer her father cattle. He doesn't give you cattle for his daughter. We just don't live in that era anymore. If you want to date several people, be open with them and yourself about that. Practice safe sex. Always practice safe sex. And be honest with your partners and yourself about what it is you want out of something. You want a playmate, a buddy, an F buddy, friend with benefits, or you want someone that you can really get into it and grow with spiritually and emotionally and intellectually, that's awesome too. Just don't lie to yourself, and especially don't lie to another person about what it is you want from them. On what occasion do I lie? When my friends are in danger. There are times where I feel lying is permissible. If it's gonna, you want to know where this person is because you're gonna go and hurt them, but they're my friend and I don't want them hurt, and I feel that they deserve redemption or a chance to explain themselves or fix what's been broken or bruised. Do it. Like I believe that I would lie to protect that person while they get away and make right what they've done wrong. What's my greatest regret? Leaving film and television in my 20s. I was going to acting school. I was working in crews. I was a featured extra in several movies and TV shows. I was going to be a movie star, and I walked away from that for all kinds of reasons. We won't get into right now, but I regret that very much, because who knows where I'd be now if I hadn't done that. When and where are you happiest? It's kind of a nebulous thing to say, but this is the truth. It's wherever and whenever I am where I can be creative and have creative conversations with other people or collaborate with other people, like with my friend Eli or my friend Mark and other people that I know. Sit down and actually write a script or a piece of writing with them. We'd actually get a completed piece, like a draft, when we're done. That to me is where and when I'm happiest, because I'm making art, and those people and those situations and those items make me extremely happy. So that's definitely my answer to that one. What do you consider my greatest achievement? I had 3 for this one, so I'll do them real fast. It's 3. One is being the youngest writer ever for Cinefex magazine. I was a writer there at 18. As far as I know, no one has beat me on that. They haven't had a writer younger than that yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, Internet. Secondly was surviving my girlfriend's suicide in the year 2000. I went to a massive depression, and everyone I knew was worried about me, but I overcame that, because here I am 20 years later, still alive, still kicking. And the third thing, I'm trying to think, I can't remember right now, but those 2 are big ones. Just staying alive, honestly, would be my overall one. I struggle with mental health issues and addiction in my own life, and so I've been closer than most to the edge, to falling over the edge and dying. I don't want to name a number, but it's more times than I can count with both hands on my fingers. If I could choose to come back as something, what would it be? Like I said about Rick MacDonnell, he said you'd be a fool not to come back as a human. With all due respect, Rick, I get that, but I think you're more of an optimist and idealist than I am. I don't think human life is that great. That it's just like, oh, I could do this again. Yeah. Life can be cool, but life is also life, which means it could be anything. We'll get into philosophy later in other videos on my channel and stuff on this channel. Because sometimes people are born having done nothing wrong, and they're born into horrible lives, or they're born into complete luxury. And then there's an argument to be made that people who are born into luxury with no problems live pointless lives because they've never had to think about anything and grow as an intellect. So if I could be born again into something, honestly, it'd be an octopus, because its neural network is spread through its whole body. Its tentacles are brains. Its entire body is a brain, from what we know, in terms of physiognomy and anatomy. The whole thing is one tentacled brain swimming around. To be able to think with your fingertips, how metal is that? That'd be awesome. Hell yeah, I want to be an octopus. What's my most treasured possession? What did I say in the last one? Oh, my eyes. That sounds silly, but it's true. I possess them. They're mine. My eyes, my vision, my ability to see. That's my most treasured possession. My 2 functioning eyes. Where would I like to live? Yeah, this one, I was saying Sweden, specifically Gothenburg, Sweden, the birthplace of melodic death metal music. It'd be either there or Western Australia, where I was years ago for a job I had. I went there for a workshop, stayed there for 2 weeks. It was really cool. It's very similar in climate to the west coast of the United States. So those are the 2, Gothenburg, Sweden, and Perth, Australia. What's my favorite occupation out of all the jobs I've had? Would be, what did I say? Think this one through. What did I say? Oh, yeah, one of my last jobs, working for Yamaha Music down in Orange County. I was a proofreader editor, and I was being groomed to be a copywriter when I resigned to go and get help, professional help for my addiction. I really liked that job, and I had a great team I worked with, and I had a really, really cool boss. It was a favorite occupation I've had. Hopefully there are good ones in the future that I'll have that I'll like too. Time will tell. What's my most marked characteristic? 100% across the board. No one would ever deny this who's ever known me. It's my imagination. I'm imaginative even when I don't want to be or don't even think I'm being imaginative. I'm extremely imaginative. So it's most marked. Most people who know me would say, like, yeah, Matt, he's got a crazy imagination. He's all over the place with these ideas. Where does he come up with this stuff is a thing you'll hear people say about me more often than not. What I most value in my friends. What did I say? Like I said, a lot of people would say loyalty, but I think loyalty is very important. But I have plenty of friends I don't talk to anymore, and it's not out of any kind of malice or anger or under a cloud or anything like that. It's just that we're not alike anymore. We don't see eye to eye as much as we maybe used to. You know, yeah, friends I don't see anymore, and that's okay. You grow apart. It doesn't mean you hate each other, you dislike each other. It's just your time together is done, and maybe someday they'll come back into my life. In fact, a friend of mine, Michael, an actor friend of mine, we just reconnected on Facebook of all things, which is awesome. Hopefully we'll keep going with that and see where that leads us if we're hanging out again someday. He lives in Japan now, which is pretty rad. Going from Southern California to Japan is quite a ways. What do I most value in friends, though, is I said this, open-mindedness. That's it. Yeah, the willingness to give something a chance, something that you maybe had written off, to try it again, whether it's food, French New Wave cinema, speculative fiction, breakdancing, tantric sex, you name it. If you're open to giving it a shot, that's what I value most in you as a friend. Not saying I'm going to have tantric sex with all of you while we eat foods of the world. I just mean you in your own life doing that, I think, is awesome. Taking a chance, taking a risk. People who don't risk have lives that I think are just depressingly uninteresting and borderline pointless. Who's my favorite writer? Who are my favorite writers? I went through with like 50 names, but I realized after the list I was like, just the ones that are the favorites, which for me would be my top favorite writers are the poet Anne Sexton, novelist, short story writer Herman Melville, amazing writer China Miéville, Jeff Vandermeer, American author. China is a Brit. Thomas Lux, the American poet who passed away 3 years ago. My hero, basically, and one of my favorite writers ever. Kurt Vonnegut, love Kurt Vonnegut. A lot of amazing writers, incredible writers. Joseph Heller, William Faulkner, John Updike, Jack London, Kelly Link, Karen Russell, George Saunders, amazing short story writers and novelists now. They've all written novels now, too. But those are some of them. Who are my heroes in real life? I said about this. I was a big fan of Jim Henson, have been my whole life. Fred Rogers. I find that men who do stuff that is both for children and for sort of the child in people, so like as you get older, still touches sort of your inner child, your childlike imagination parts. So people like Jim Henson and Fred Rogers cover that pretty well. And there's a lot of people who do that now pretty well too. John Lasseter at Pixar for a long time I thought was really cool. He's got some issues, some Me Too type stuff happened, unfortunately. Hopefully he gets some help for that. But what's his name? Brad Bird, who worked at Pixar and now does live action and animated films. I think he's great. He's awesome, really imaginative guy doing stuff I'd love to be doing myself. Like heroes, yeah. I mean, but those are like creative heroes in terms of like heroes like overall. Like honestly, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, the activist, Middle Eastern female activist, she's amazing, does really, really cool stuff. Stephen Fry, the English comedian and performance artist, he opens up people's minds and eyes and hearts to mental health issues and addiction. He himself is an addict in recovery and an artist. We have a lot in common in that way. I mean, he's way more famous than I am, or probably ever will be, but I think we'd have some really great conversations, I truly do. I'd love to meet him someday and talk to him. He's definitely a hero of mine. Christopher Hitchens was a hero of mine, passed far too young. He's missed. How would I like to die? This is a very grim question for the obvious and not so obvious reasons. I don't know if it means like how I'd actually like to die, but my answer last time, and I'll say it again here, is multifaceted. One is I'd like it to be where there are people who survive me, who live beyond my death, who are glad they knew me and feel that their lives were enriched in some way for having known me. So like they're not, because I know this from living as long as I have and having buried, friends and family. There are people who don't like you when you're dead, and they have reasons for that. There'll be people who won't like me when I'm dead, who don't like me while I'm alive, and that's their right to feel. But I hope that there are people who do miss me and feel that their lives were enriched for having known me and will miss me when I'm gone. But in terms of the actual act of dying, this is weird, but it's the truth. There's part of me that says, hang on, the plane. There's a part of me that says, people always say, like, die in your sleep, have a heart attack in your sleep, because it's peaceful. But studies now show, they've done studies on this, that now show that dying in your sleep might be like a nightmare, because it's like you're having a heart attack and you're experiencing it with your logical brain turned off, because you're in your dream state, like if you're in REM sleep. That's horrific. Can you imagine having a heart attack? What a heart attack would be like as it's filtered through your unconscious mind into your body when you're susceptible to the effects of nightmares? No thanks. So I want to not die of a heart attack in my sleep. I think I want to die wide awake. And how do I want to die? This is where things get really effed up. So logically, let's say painlessly, right? But here's the thing. If you die and whatever you're experiencing just ends, I want to die in a way that's really horrendous, because I want to experience that and then have it end all of a sudden. And then you'll, like, that way I can say, if there is an afterlife, wow, burning alive was really intense. That was the most heavy metal thing ever. I can tell that to the other dead people. That's crazy, right? Oh, that said, those of you out there, please no one come and find me and douse me in gasoline and throw a lit match on me, please. I'm not saying I want to die being immolated. Amazing word, right? Immolation. I don't want that. I just think that's fascinating if you could experience that and then reflect on it afterwards, say, in like an afterlife scenario. It would be pretty interesting. It'd be a horrible way to die because of the suffering part, but suffering is going to end if it's how you're dying. If this is the thing that's killing you, it's not eternal. So why not go out with a serious bang and a scream and a whimper and a that is dark. What is your motto? So I was thinking about this. Yeah, what was my motto? I was saying one that's definitely not my motto is to thine own self be true, because that comes from Hamlet, from the character Polonius, who's basically comic relief in the play. People always take it out of context, like be true to yourself, which is totally fine and honorable. But in the play, that line is kind of played for laughs, because Polonius is sort of a doddering old man who's just kind of babbling to his son Laertes as he's getting ready to go off to university. So if it's the certain plays, versions I've seen it performed in, that line is played for laughs, because he's just kind of telling Laertes, be like your dad, because I just got it all figured out. You know, it's very like egotistical and comedic, actually, if you think about it. So definitely not to thine own self be true. My motto. Trying to think what I said last time. What was my motto? Oh yeah, that's right. I got it from a guy in one of my AA groups. So I'm going to paraphrase here, and it's got a curse word in it, which I can't remove without removing sort of the point of the motto. So bear with me. There'll be a curse word here, but it's part of the point. It's this. It's in all my affairs of my life and all things. Planes again. It's a busy day for airplanes. Hang on. In all the things that I do and say, let me be right, but please don't let me be goddamned right no matter what. So to explain a little bit what he means by that, if you don't get that right off the bat, I got it pretty intuitively when I heard him say this in a meeting, but basically it's, let my instincts be true, let me get a good sense of a person, place, or thing, but let me also be humble enough to not go, this is how it is, this is how it always has to be, this is how it's going to be forever, I know everything, blah, blah, blah. No. Please let me never be finished and at the edge of all knowledge of something. Let me always be open to learning new things and meeting new people and going to new places. Let my journey for knowledge and experience and enlightenment never end. Let me be forever ignorant to some degree so that I can learn and be enriched and grow. That would be my motto. So put that on a bumper sticker. It's the size of a wall, right? So that's the Proust Questionnaire. Thanks to Rick MacDonnell for the good the suggestion, even though I just took it as one passively, so we haven't met. But yeah, that's it. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching. Stick around. This channel is going to grow. It'll have much more regular content as we go along. And as I said in my last video, which you probably never see, I've got a lot of stuff filmed with friends. I've actually got stuff that's shot in like a talk show format and other types of things I'm going to be putting out there. So stay tuned for that stuff. Please get in those comments, and I'll do my best to interact with you, as many of you as I can. And then let's keep the hate to a 100% minimum. I don't want any hate or judgments or anything like that in the comments. It's not appreciated, and I don't want that. I want everyone to feel safe and respected here. So yeah, thanks, and see ya.